So the last episode was the final game of the entire series, but I think to truly wrap up the series as a whole, let's go 5 years in the future and see how all my 4 previous clubs have been doing. What's the betting that the teams have been ripped apart, in particular Liverpool, which was the latest one? Hello and welcome back to 5 years in the future for Unemployed to Legends. My name is Craig and come up on today's series wrap up. As mentioned in the intro, we're going to go through all the 4 clubs that I have managed throughout the entire series going all the way back to the beginning. So that will be Swansea University, Dundee United, RC Lons and Liverpool. I don't know why I had to struggle to remember one of those 2 names, but whatever. So how it's going to work, we're going to start at the beginning with Swansea Uni and work our way up to the most recent club, which was Liverpool. And I have simulated forward to the 1st of June 2038. So the entire 5 years have been completed. The leagues that we were in previously have also been loaded for the entire 5 years. So they should have been relatively competitive in that time frame as well. If you do go on to enjoy this video, and if you have enjoyed the series as a whole, make sure you hit the like button down below, smash the big red subscribe button so you don't miss the future plans that I will be coming out with in a video which will be on Monday. If you're watching this after this video has come out, that video will be next Monday. But for now, we're going to get started by just seeing the first club, which is Swansea University. It's going to be a lot of changes here, obviously. It's been 14 years since I've actually managed them, and already I can see they're still in the top league. They're still amateur as well. Hang on, yeah, there they are. I feel sorry for poor Swansea Uni. We couldn't go to the semi-pro. University teams can't go semi-pro even in real life, so it's a bit of a shame. I mean, on this skin that I'm currently using, it's behind my head, so you can't actually see that I've got the finances, but their balance is currently £9 million, so not as high as when I saw it previously, which is like many seasons ago. It was like 17 million, so goodness knows what they've spent the money on. Actually, I can see what they've spent the money on. Training facilities and youth facilities are adequate. They were not adequate before, I don't think, but they are still playing in Port Talbot. So they actually had to move from their ground, which was at the university, and they've gone to Port Talbot, which is a bit of a shame. Let's have a look how they did in the Welsh Premier League. That's the relegation. Oh no, that's the European playoff places. They finished 3rd. Okay, so Swansea Uni have got Europa. They got Europa League for next season. And Penabont, who finished 2nd, got Europa Conference League. I don't know how that works, but by the looks of this, TNS have been dominating for the last few years. In fact, Swansea dominated even after we had left. So we left in the 24-25 season, about halfway through. And Swansea Uni kept on winning the league all the way up till 2029, and then TNS just took over again. That's a bit of a shame. They were then the 2nd best team in the country before, by the looks of it, Penabont and Cardiff Met Uni, interesting, took over. So it looks like Cardiff Met Uni and Penabont are challenging Swansea Uni as like the 2nd best team in the whole country. And Cardiff Met are also, yeah, they're a university, so they're also amateur, which is okay. We got another amateur team that we got to face. Fair enough. How have they been doing in Europe? Let's just filter this down so we can see how have they been doing in Europa Conference League, Europa League, and if they were in the Champions League, which they've obviously been doing. Actually, I don't even need to do this, do I? I can just go to history. So competitions. I forgot I can do this. Let's have a look. They were in the Champions League for a few years, so we lost. That was when we were still there. They lost in the playoff to Partizan. That's when we went into the Europa League. They then lost in the 2nd qualifying round, 1st qualifying for 3 years in a row, and then 2nd qualifying. Okay, that's a bit of a shame. Did they get much further in Europa League? So that's when we got to the Europa League. They've only been to the Europa League phase once, so that was when we were there, and we left just before the final game. The final 2 games actually, and then they lost in the 3rd qualifying round twice since then. Okay, so they've not found their level there. Okay, this is where they found their level, the Europa Conference League. So 36th out of 36 the year after we left, and then they've been mostly losing in the qualifying rounds except for the one time they finished 32nd in 27-28. That's not bad. Not bad at all. Let's have a look. League-wise, yeah, domestic leagues. Yeah, so they haven't been relegated since, which is absolutely fine. Yeah, these years right here where there's absolutely no data, that's because I took the league out of the game. I probably should have left it in, but the game was slowing down at the time, so I just deleted a few leagues that we weren't going to go back to. But by the looks of it, we've kept them. Well, we built them up to being competitive in the Welsh Premier, and looks like they kept up for the most part for an amateur side. I think that's a job well done. Now, is there any players that we're going to recognise? It's not going to be any of the youngsters, obviously, because we're 14 years removed from the time that I actually managed this team. So it's going to be any of the old guards. So David Robinson, I think he was here. Yeah, I brought him in. But it's weird that in this league you can play trialists. That's absolutely hilarious. So David Robson is still there. Is he a regular now? Yeah, he's a regular player for them. I don't think there is actually anyone else that we do recognise. So we're just going to go back into the transfer history. Let's go back to 24-25 season. So this would have been when we left, and they brought in a few players after me, obviously. Anybody else who's actually left since then? So Miles Edmondson. Yeah, you can just about see the names. Miles Edmondson, you can see he left for Cardiff Met Uni. Prince Adegoke and Robin Dodds. Yeah, I remember that name. Can't even click on him, so he's completely retired from the game. Going forwards, more players. Lewis Orford, I remember him. Guion Edwards, I'm so sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that name. He left for TNS. In fact, 3 of our players left for TNS. Billy Sass Davies, Mazid Ogumbo. So it just looks like TNS were just poaching a lot of our players on frees. They made no transfers the following season. 1 player left after that. Wow, they just reverted to the fact that they were a amateur side. They brought absolutely no one in for 5 seasons. Oh my god, it's about 6 or 7 seasons there. They brought absolutely no one in, and then they started bringing in a lot of players. Yeah, because players are probably starting to retire by then. So Val, and is that another one? Or did he literally have 2 spells with us? No, he left us for TNS, of course. Quite a few players leaving for TNS. What's going on? Before they had to replace a lot of players because everyone else was probably just leaving by that point. There's not many others that I'm actually going to recognise. Lee Harkin, Scott Smith, I'm guessing they've retired now. Yeah, they've long since retired. He actually went back to Ireland, Lee Harkin. Went to Finn Harps for a few years. Scott Smith, he went to Llanelli Town, so he ended his career in Wales, fair enough to him. And Nico Jones, the tall defender, tall centre-back, he was always so good going forward. He actually went to Cork City, as he went back to Ireland. 2 years, 97 appearances, yeah, fair enough, he went back home. Can't blame him for that. And everyone else afterwards, Tom Bamford, hang on. I thought he left long before. No, he stayed on for a lot longer. But the man barely played for about 10 years, but he decided to leave after that. He went to Heybridge, and then eventually he just retired about a year before. Lovely. And I think that's going to be it. Oh my god, Aaron Pilkington. This guy was always threatening to leave, but he eventually just stayed, and he stayed about 11 years after me. He didn't even play he barely played for the 3 of the last years that he was there. He went to Barry, who ended up getting relegated. He had 1 more season after that, and then he just retired the last year. So my question is, what happened to the likes of Demalia Brown Sterling? Because I don't think he's here. When did he leave then? I actually can't find Brown Sterling, so I'm going to try and put him in. Let's see if he does pop up. Demalia, there he is. Okay, he retired. Oh, he just stayed. He retired at the club. 222 appearances and 114 goals. The man has to be a legend for the club, surely. He retired in 2035, so he was still playing when we finished the series. So that is not bad. That's not bad for a career, to be fair. Let's have a look. Did he end up on the... Yeah, he ended up on the icons list with Val Adegoken, Demalia Brown Sterling, and Jordan Bradley. I don't know who he is. David Robson, Tom Bamford are on the favoured personnel. I'm not there. That's a shame. Maybe I was, but I just ended up dropping off. Competitions-wise, actually, honours. They did end up winning the Welsh Cup 2036 and 2038. Okay, they got their redemption. They actually won it after I tried and failed twice. They were runner-up. Oh my god. Okay, it wasn't just me who was the bad luck. We finished runners-up 2023 and 2024. And then they finished runners-up 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. 7 times after I left. So it's not just me. I wasn't the curse. Nathaniel MG Cup, they won it 6 times since I left. And runners-up 4 times. It's just in the DNA of the club, isn't it? To just be runner-up. And of course they've won the Welsh Premier 6 times. So overall, pretty decent history we created for Swansea University. We set the foundations and then they ran with it afterwards. So there's still 1.5-star national reputation. So as the 2nd or 3rd best club in the whole of Scotland, as the 2nd or 3rd best team in the whole of Wales, I think that's a job well done for good old Swansea University. Right, we're going to move on to Dundee United. That was the next club. If I can actually spell them properly, oh my gosh. Dundee United, not the other one that I saw there. So they are still in the Scottish Premiership, where they finished in 2nd place apparently. And of course Celtic are still dominating. Oh, for goodness sake. It's good to see actually that the Scottish Premiership is back in the top 10 for competition rankings. That's where we were trying to get them back to when we were here. But Dundee United have sadly missed out on Europe in the season just gone. But they're still in the top 6, just about. Motherwell should really have beaten them to 6th. But overall, we put them in the top 6. It's up to them what they did afterwards. It's been about 11 years since I've been there. So realistically, it's down to them what they do. Past winners, obviously Celtic. They've just dominated completely. We finished 2nd. That was us in 2027. Since then, they've only finished 3rd once, in the top 3 once, and that was about 2 years after we were there. Since then, they've really not been doing well, have they? Let's have a look at general. So that was us, and then we left literally in the middle of this season. So we left, I think, about November time. October, November time in 2027. So 4th, 3rd, 5th, 4th for a long time, and then last 2 seasons 5th and 4th. So they're like the top 5 of Scotland, except for this season. They just had a poor year. Oh, that is terrible. Right, actually, let's have a look at their European runs. So that was us. We lost in the Champions League 3rd qualifying round, and they've not been back since. Fantastic. Not. Europa League, they've lost in the round of 16. That was us. Quarter final the following year. They did better. Oh, I was holding them back. And then the Europa League playoff on aggregates. Is that the... Yeah, that must be the knockout round. No, it's not. It's the qualifying rounds. Oh gosh, they didn't even make it back into the league phase. That's terrible. This looks a lot more like their level. Europa Conference League. That's before we were there, and then since then they've lost in the playoff round, the knockout playoff round, round of 16, quarterfinals. Oh, they got to the semi-finals in 2033. Oh, they lost to Newcastle United. What a shock! And they've not been back. Oh, they were in the Europa Conference League final. Oh no, they lost to Mönchengladbach. Oh, that's so cruel. No shot. Who did they beat in the semis? They beat Bologna. Quarterfinals. They beat Basel. And round of 16, they... Oh my god, so they came from behind against Sarajevo. Wow. Oh, that's so cruel. Unlucky Dundee. Oh dear. Right, so is there any players here who we still recognise? Oh, there's one straight away. In fact, there's 2 straight away that I recognise. In fact, let's put them by age. Finlay McAllister is still there. I had him on my scout report the entire time at Lons, but he was never good enough to come into that squad. Fabio Mane. I'm surprised this guy is still here. I mean, he's carved out a good career for himself. He played for Guinea-Bissau, along with Jolson Fernandez, 55 caps, and they'd have played in the same team. That's pretty cool. I mean, for £1.6 million for a long-term player, we did well for Dundee there. He's actually had very good seasons for them as well. I wouldn't be surprised if he was one of the main reasons that they actually stayed in the top 5 of Scotland. Anybody else? Evgenios Spyro, I did bring him in and then sent him out on loan. Yep, sent him out to Sheffield Wednesday. He came back and has been an okay player ever since. Not bad. How much did we buy him for? Oh, we got him for free. Fantastic. So that was a good long-term signing right there. Jack Webster, he was actually one of our youngsters who's actually joining Huddersfield this summer. That's a shame. So he's going to be leaving. He was at Hibernian as well. Why are you giving him to our rivals? So he started off at Dundee. We tried to give him some time. Well, I say tried to give him. I think he played 2 games while I was there. That was while I was there as well. But other than that, he eventually broke into the team about 6 years before this point. And he was a regular until he went to Hibernian, and now he's on his way to Huddersfield. Gregor Harvey. Didn't I actually scout him years ago from Celtic? Yeah. They eventually got him. Unbelievable. I mean, you can't actually see it behind my head. So he's got 348 appearances and 106 goals in the league in his entire career and 38 assists. And that's while not playing regularly for Celtic. A lot of that's for the Celtic B team, to be fair, but no, he came in to Dundee United. He's got 9 goals, 3 assists in 34. Looks like he was probably their lead striker. Other than that, I don't think there's actually anybody else here who I actually recognise, but they do have a lot more Scottish players in the squad. So as far as transfers go, players who went out, who came in, we probably won't recognise. Say that, Steve Much, yeah, he's a player that I brought in. I remember that, 350,000 from Rangers. What was I on? But all the players who actually went out after we left, so it would have been from January onwards. Of course, Sam Curtis, we bought him for Lons for £2.7 million, which was his release clause at the time. Jack Webster went out on loan. Christopher Wu, we took at the end of that season as well. He went on a free to Lons. Lewis Strapp, oh, I remember him. Oh, he's retired now, obviously, but he's now... Where is he now? Is he a coach? Yeah, he's a coach. Fair enough. He retired literally just a few years before. He went back to England. I'll say that. He came back to Scotland as well with Kilmarnock and then to Barnsley. So, not a bad career. He's an under-21s coach now. Fair enough. Anyone else who left? Absolutely no one left the season after. Why are teams not buying players? Or did I take Scotland out of the game by this point? That might have been what happened. Cameron Good, he went to LAFC. I remember him. Still playing. And by the looks of it, he was never a regular at Dundee United, so that's fair enough. The American, yeah, he was American. He went back in the end. David White went to Southampton. Where do I remember him from? Or did he arrive? He might have arrived after I actually left, so fair enough. 2 players who left. Chris Hopkins, I remember him. Oh my gosh, yeah, he was our youngster, wasn't he? No, he wasn't. I bought him in from Mansfield now, remember? He was just a young player I bought for $500,000. They ended up selling him for a slight profit to Plymouth. Not bad. So why does everybody end up at Plymouth for my teams? As I know they're in the Championship for a long time. Oh, Ramon Enriquez. He went to Bordeaux. Oh, this is after. I realise now. He left in 2033. Wow. He was there for a long time. And he went to Bordeaux, then Moscow in Russia, and then AEK Athens in Greece, and then he's literally just retired at the end of the previous season. So, not bad. £4.2 million. How much did we buy him for? Actually, oh, we can't actually see. I could go back and have a look, but I'm not going to bother. And a lot of players came in literally in 2033. I think this is when I put the league back into the game, so you can see what a difference it makes to leagues that are in the game and leagues that are not in the game. So Ibrahim Cisse, he eventually left for a loss to Ghent. To be fair, he would have been much older by that point. Dion Drena Beljo, we brought him in as a backup. He's now 36 and still going. He's at Real Betis. My God, they sold him for 8 million. Never mind, they made a lot of money on this man. Lewis O'Donnell, he left and he went to Rangers. Of course he did. Still only 32 years old. He was one of our own and he ended up leaving for Rangers. The Dundee United fans must be hating him for that. They really must be. Other than that, I don't think there's really many other players that we actually recognise. Sinistera. Luis Sinistera ended up at Dundee United. That's hilarious. So by the looks of it, they've kind of stabilised as a top 6 club in Scotland, which is, to be fair, a big improvement from when We took over when they were fighting relegation after just getting promoted. So fair enough, they just kind of hung around exactly where they were supposed to be in the end. Now, next up is RC Lens. We took over this club when they were actually at the bottom half of the league. In fact, they were in the relegation zone, from what I remember. And by the looks of it, they've kept themselves in the top 4 of France. PSG still dominates. Oh, no, they won the title by a point. I tell you what, that top 4 is getting very close to PSG. Actually, Monaco have won the title twice in the last 3 years. Well, well, well. Lens are still finishing 2nd or 3rd. Monaco are taking the title away. France has kind of closed up a little bit. It's only taken 16 years, but it's finally happening. My goodness. Marseille look like they've dropped off a little bit. Now, how have Lens been doing the last few seasons? They've been consistently top 4. So we left after we finished 2nd in 2030. And since then, it's been 4th, 3rd, 3rd, 2nd, 3rd, 2nd, 4th. Okay, so they're hovering in the Champions League places, which for them is absolutely fine. They're 4.5-star reputation now. I have seen them regularly in the Champions League, so not a complete surprise. And you can see, yeah, so we got to the quarterfinals twice in a row in the Champions League, lost to PSG and Man United. I say lost, we got absolutely smacked. They lost then to Inter, Man City, Wolfsburg, Borussia Dortmund, Bayern Munich, knocked out in the league phase, disappointing, and then knocked out in the knockout playoff round. 2 years running against Leipzig and Dortmund. So it looks like they're sort of thereabouts. They're just hovering beneath like the top level. But it looks like they're not going to be a Champions League winning team anytime soon, which is a bit of a shame. As far as money goes, didn't actually look at the money for Dundee United, but I think we can safely assume there's hardly any because there's none in Scotland. They've got a balance. Lens have a balance of £67.7 million. France has been in the game for many seasons now, and they should have been spending a lot of money in the transfers. So we're only going back as far transfer wise to 2030, because we obviously left at the end of the previous season, and by the looks of it, now they started spending. I think that's a lot more than we were spending. Oh my gosh, I was spending that little, and then as soon as I leave, boom, money, 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 and eventually it just kind of dropped off. It tailed back to where we were spending. Only spent 5.75 million this past season. So who did they actually get rid of? I know Kevin Danso went to Brentford. That's in a transfer that I arranged. Marcus Stingel and Jolson Fernandez and Dennis Simon, of course, I took to Liverpool with me. So I kind of just ripped the squad apart. I can't even blame the next manager for that. And players that they brought in, oh yeah, Omar Rekic. I think I was close to arranging that before I actually left, so fair enough. I was also arranged to bring in Pellegrini and Benacer and Fluffman. So those are my transfers. They are mine. Did they make much money? A little bit. Jeremy Doku went to Venezia, 4.1 million. Vinazzo they finally got rid of. They sold him for 8 million. Oh, well done. Hang on, how much did we buy him for? I think we got him on a free. Yeah, well done. You made some serious profit on Vinazzo. He was absolutely useless for us. To the point I sent him out to Nantes and he was useless for them. So well done. You somehow conned Roma out of £8 million. Ah, they sold Rene Lopez. No. He's at Marseille. No. He's at one of our rivals. I feel sick. Oh, no. 400. Hang on. How did he... Hang on. Cost so far 425,000. How? We only paid 85,000 for him. So where did that come? Oh, must have been clauses. Oh, I'm sad now. They made a big profit on him, and then Marseille got him for free. So Nice lost out. Whatever. But he was improving at Lens before he ended up leaving. That's a shame he left though. Varchetta. Oh, Varchetta left for Lyon. Still playing, and he's still uncapped for Italy. So I suppose he just wasn't as good as I thought he was. £16.5 million we sold him for. Not bad, off the fact that we bought him for 10 million. And then he ended up at Marseille. Other than that, it's probably a lot of other players who are getting a bit old who are leaving the club. Philip Roningen Jorgensen, he's still going, but he's now 36. He ended up leaving for OGC Nice as well. Yasser Esprit. Oh wait, no, he came after I had actually left. So he went to Newcastle for 74 million. Oh, that explains why they got 84 million that summer. Amin Adli, he ended up retiring by the looks of it. Yeah, he just retired from the game. Actually, no, he went to Marseille. And other than that, there's a lot of players here who I won't actually recognise from my old squads. Fluffman eventually went to Genk for up to £9.75 million. That's a pretty good deal right there. Omar Rekic went to Troyes for free. And Rico Lewis eventually left. Rico Lewis hung around until he went to Newcastle for 9.25 million. He's currently at Frankfurt. Not bad. We bought him for 1.7 million and sold him for a massive profit. He wasn't even a regular the last 2 seasons. But well done on getting a big profit on him. Regardless, Newcastle must still have a lot of money then. Francesco Infantino eventually left for Bayern Munich. Big money deal, £63 million. He is still there? Yeah. He's still there. He's not even what I call a regular. He's someone who's a squad player. He was kind of a regular in his first season and then just sort of dropped off, but they got a lot of money for him. £63 million. I think he's in the prime of his career, yeah. At 27 years old. He lost a long time at Lens, actually. He left after the series had actually finished, so well done. Elder went to Southampton. We never actually saw him play because he was on loan. And eventually he became a regular squad player. Hang on, no he didn't. He had a mixture of the B team for Lens and Lens A team. And they sold him at a loss. Come on, guys. Come on, how did you say him at a loss? Bertuccini also left as well. Oh, Marco Danello. I tried to get him for Liverpool, but Lens didn't want to sell him for less than 100 million, which is why I went elsewhere. Well, actually, did we buy any more strikers? No, we didn't. We had the strikers we needed. But he eventually left for Villarreal, and he went for £33 million, a slight profit, but they got a lot of goals out of him. Well, they got a fair amount of goals out of him, so fair enough. And other than that, I think that's the last player who I will know that left. By the looks of it, Lens top 4 team in France, but it looks like PSG is being caught up very, very quickly. Now, the last club, the most recent club, of course, is Liverpool. Right, for some reason I just noticed the light was off, so sorry if it was a bit dark on the screen for a moment. But what I can tell you is that behind my head, Liverpool are still in debt. £254 million in debt, so it's slightly increased, slightly gone down, but otherwise their season budget isn't even £30 million, which is actually quite shocking. But in the Premier League, looks like they're still winning it. Wow. So the 3 seasons that I won it in a row with them, it wasn't a fluke. Definitely wasn't. Liverpool had the best team in the league. West Ham won the Premier League? Oh my god, what's been happening here? So Liverpool won it 4 years in a row, and then they completely slipped out the top 3 the next season. Tottenham finished second twice. Typical Spurs. Liverpool then 3rd in 2036. And West Ham became a top 2 team for a couple of years. Why are Everton there? What's going on here? Sheffield United are 4th. The future looks weird. Hull are in the Premier League. I mean, other than that, there's actually no major surprises of who's actually in the Premier League. Arsenal finished 6th. Man City are down to 5th. They just fell off hard. Is Erling Haaland still there, by the way? I need to actually see. Is he still there? Yeah, of course he is. 37 years old and he's probably still banging in the goals. Not as many now. He's dropped off. He's dropped off massively in the last 5 years. Finally, he's slowing down. It only took 16 years. Have Liverpool won any other trophies in the meantime? Let's go to honours. So, as we know, Champions League, they've not won it. Oh, we'll have a look in a moment to see who's actually won the Champions League. Oh, they finished runners-up again. 2036. Damn it. Premier League, as we've seen, they won it 2 years after I left. The Club World Cup, they ended up winning it. They went into the Club World Cup after I actually left and finished the series, but they actually ended up winning the whole thing. Fair enough. Europa League, no, they haven't won it since, nor the Super Cup, obviously. They won't have won that. They ended up winning the FA Cup finally, the year after I was there. Carabao Cup, they haven't won it since we won it those 2 years in a row. Other than that, by the looks of it, they've only just been competitive then in trying to get into the Champions League final again. They've obviously got there in 2036. They lost it they lost to Bayern Munich. No, They lost on penalties. Oh, you sadists. They lost to West Ham in the quarterfinals the year before. What is going on? What the heck? They lost to Monaco in the quarterfinals in 2037, and then Dortmund in the round of 16. So they've been slipping the last couple of years. Oh, to lose it on penalties to Bayern Munich. Oh, that's sadistic. We can actually just have a look at the player squad though. I'm not going to look at the transfers except for those who have maybe come in. Is there anyone that we still recognise? Still quite a few. Lavia is still there, although his wages have come down massively. Oh my god, who's on $500,000 a week? Anderson Luiz. He wants to move on for a new challenge. Oh, Anderson Luiz. Oh yeah, but he's still a very, very high quality player. So Lavia is still there, Slaninia, Simon Tobar and Axel Ferrer, all in their 30s now. So is Anderson Luiz, Borja, Saravia. Becerra survived a lot longer. Charlie Ross, how's he been doing? Still Scotland's top scorer, I'm going to assume. 53 goals and 78 caps. He is 28 years old now. Still wanted by Bayern Munich. Go away, Bayern Munich. Just go away. He is scoring regularly for Liverpool though. Look at that. He's regularly around the 20 goal mark for them. Knew he was a top striker in the making. Amaral is still there. And then Jovanovic. How are you still here, Didi? Hang on. No, this is not the same. Is this the same guy? Hang on. He's Italian? Oh, right. He was Brazilian Italian, but he swapped it round. He declared for Italy. Ah, okay. And he's worth what? He's worth up to £210 million. He actually ended up becoming a regular. Okay, maybe I was wrong about him. Then again, he hated me, so I suppose that's not a great surprise. Holds great disdain for you as a manager. Wow. Wow. Thanks, Didi. Thanks for that. And then, of course, Cesare Sestari. He is still here. Oh my god, he's worth up to £350 million. Mamma mia. Right, he's still scoring and assisting. Still, look at that. This man is just utter quality. I was right to bring him in when I did. £6.5 million is an absolute steal at this point, considering he can go for a lot of money. So, still quite a few players in this squad. Obviously, it's only been 5 years who we actually know. What are they doing tactics-wise? They're still doing the 4-1-2-1-2. No, they're not. They're doing the 4-3-3. Boo! Alright, so I think the only thing that's actually left then is the Champions League. Let's have a look and see who's been winning that. So, obviously Liverpool got knocked out in the round of 16. Who has actually won it? Bayer Leverkusen won it by beating Tottenham. I'm absolutely over the moon about that. By the looks of it, English domination is still not a thing, except West Ham won the Champions League. I don't know how West Ham won the Champions League. They beat Inter Milan for it. Other than that, Bayern Munich, they won it 2 out of the 5 years. Real Madrid, they beat us cruelly and then won it again. Bayer Leverkusen have just come out of absolute nowhere. Did they get a takeover or something? Let's have a look. They have not. No. So, just looks like they've got a bit of a golden team going at the moment. They're rich. They've got a lot of money. Not in the season budget, but financially they're pretty okay. Europa League is still being heavily dominated by English teams. Chelsea won it the year we finished. Then Man City, Arsenal and Man U have won it, either side of Hertha Berlin and AC Milan. Everton finished runners-up. Sheffield United! Excuse me? Sheffield United finished runners-up in the Europa League. Hang on. What's going on here? What's going on? 7th when we finished up the series. 11th, 6th, 11th, 9th. They're not even... This league is so OP. Europa Conference League. Let's have a look. Newcastle won it when we actually finished up. Leverkusen finished runners-up, ironically. Then it was Sporting, Dortmund, Aston Villa. Wow. Torino and Gladbach, with Dundee United being runners-up, as we've seen. And finally, we're just going to check the World Cup. I've not actually checked the World Cup at all since we were actually... In fact, not even when we were in the series. So, World Cup-wise, Brazil won it in 2022, 2026. England did get the victory in 2030, obviously. And Portugal are the holders, without Ronaldo, of course. Is he managing them? Nah, he's not. Oh, Manuel Silva is the vice-captain. That's cool. Hang on a minute. He went to Arsenal. Oh, he left Liverpool for Arsenal for a cut price 32 million. What the heck, guys? He's worth so much more and you sold him for 32 million. Disgusting. Financial situation must have been worse than I thought. In fact, the one thing we have forgotten is the European Championships. So, Italy are the current holders. It looks like it's just been England and Italian dominance. They've won the last 5, including the one in real life. So England won it 2024 and 2028. That's their golden era. And then Italy twice in a row. England actually finished runners-up when Italy won it the first time. Poland, second place. Not bad. Germany hosted it again. Well, there's no other European nation who could do that. That's interesting. But I think that is going to wrap things up. Just finish it up on my career stats. As you can see, highest fee spent £150 million and the highest fee received is £51 million for Charles de Ketelare and Noel Asseco in Kili, respectively. And just to confirm, time spent on holiday. I probably should have shown this before, but that is literally the last 5 years. I was actually not on holiday any time before. I should probably have shown that, because people might still question me, but oh well. But truly, thank you all so much for supporting the series. Thank you all for following along, and I hope you have enjoyed all 4 clubs and all the seasons and the trophies that we have been trying to rack up as much as possible, and the heartbreak, of course, the heartbreak along the way as well. But thank you all so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this episode, and this is now truly the final episode of Unemployed to Legend, make sure you hit the like button down below and smash the big red subscribe button. Future plans video coming out on Monday, especially in the lead up to FM24, which will be coming out hopefully very soon. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for supporting the series, and I look forward to seeing you all in Monday's episode and for whatever the next series could be.